Howdy folks, Justin here, and I just bought some kind of like Founders Package thing for Eternal. So I'm going to use those gems I got to open some of the new set. Here we go. I got 6,000. Is there any reason to buy 64 packs right now or just 32? Let's just do 32 packs. Purchase confirmed. Sweet. Alright, let's do this. So Omens of the Past is a new Eternal set, and it adds enemy-colored faction cards. Each pack has a rare or a legendary, and then you can get premium versions of them, which of course, like in a lot of games, you can then soul trap, disenchant, whatever the terminology is. It's right here. Shift stone. You can destroy your extra shift stone cards for shift stone, which you can then use to craft new ones. So we got Reunite as our rare card here, and that draws a stranger from your deck. Strangers are neutral cards for the most part, although some of them are colored, that you can summon up that make each other more powerful. Here we have a premium card, and what I like about the premiums in Eternal is that they come in their own frames. Like, that's markedly different than the non-premium cards. I think it's pretty cool. And there's another stranger. This guy is a red and yellow stranger that gives everybody warp, which is pretty neat. Warp lets you play cards from the top of your deck, which is one of those kind of cool mechanics that you can only really do in an online game. On the hunt, put a 4/4 Hellhound with charge on top of your deck, so trading tempo and card advantage for a little burst the following turn. Kind of an interesting idea. Again, sort of a mechanic you can only do in a digital card game. It's one of the things Eternal does really well, with a lot of their mechanics like that. Another one of the cool things about Eternal is that the cards actually change the text or just erase the text when they're silenced and stuff like that from each other, and so the game remembers when the card changes zones from your hand to in play to your discard pile to your library. They all retain the text they've gained and stuff like that, which is really interesting. Again, kind of just really next leveling the stuff you can do in digital card games, besides just adding random effects to things, which is sort of the lazy way out of it. And here we have our first legendary. Bad news. Ready your units, so untap them for people who play Magic, and they can attack again. It's pretty cool. Red is like in many card games, a pretty aggressive color. And we have another legendary, which is pretty sweet. Let's get this guy out, and another stranger. Oh no, this isn't legendary. It just glows their own color. That's kind of heartbreaking, actually. That guy gives everybody lifesteal, which is drain from legends, or there's a similar mechanic that was just added to Hearthstone because they are, constantly trying to catch up. And we got 2 premium cards. It's pretty awesome. Premium cards can get turned into a huge amount of shift stones, so they're really great for that. And Groundbreaker. Enemy player can't gain life, and Spark. So Spark abilities trigger when you've damaged an opponent this turn. Kind of encourages you to play things after combat, which is generally a good idea. And if you trigger the Spark, this guy deals double damage, which is pretty sweet. I mean, I don't know if it's just a holdover from Magic the Gathering, but I love multicolor cards. Hate Cleaver is a relic weapon, so you attach this to your avatar, and it has 3 attack. It adds 2 armor to you. This isn't like charges or anything like that. It's armor that you gain, and when your armor is expended, and you can gain armor from other sources too to increase the the length your weapon is going to survive. When your armor's gone, your weapon's dead. Life Force is the purple gold ability, and it just triggers. It's just a reminder word that says that when you gain life, something cool is going to happen. It's a really neat looking card. I actually got to see some of the artists who work on this at Denver Comic Con. We got some little posters from them. And now we have a legendary with the wrong highlight color when I moused over it. We have Elias the Broken Wing. Flying, Lifesteal, Revenge, costs 8 for an 8/4. Revenge is the purple-green mechanic, and that also from this set, that means that when it dies, you put it into your deck somewhere in the top 10 cards, and when you draw it, then you play it for free, and then you draw an additional card. It's pretty cool. Kind of a control opponent's nightmare. Okay, Reunite. We are definitely getting a lot of Reunite action, and it feels so good. So this may be a legendary card. It is. Heart of the Vault's actually a card I really like. 6 magicka or mana or power, I guess, for a 6/6. You can play it from the top of your deck. When you play it, you do 2 damage to an enemy. You draw a card and you reduce that card's cost by 2. You do have to have 3 red and 3 gold influence to play this, but this is a card I've been playing with quite a bit, actually. I have 2 of them. Now I have 3. Let's keep rolling. So we've already got 3 legendaries, and I think we were only guaranteed 3 legendaries when we bought these, so we got 20 more packs to go through. Shepherd's Horn. Your cards with Overwhelm, so Trample, Magic, or Breakthrough in Legends. Your cards with Overwhelm cost 1 less. When you play a card with Overwhelm, you gain 3 life. Cool. A lot of stuff in this set offers sort of incidental life gain that can really power up your life force spells, which is something I'd like to play more of. Here's an example of that. It costs 1 power to play it, and you put a creature into play with attack and defense, or sword and heart, equal to the amount of life you've gained this turn. It's kind of cool. And Slime Spitter Slug, that's actually what I look like before I've had my coffee. Says each flying unit gets -1/-1 for each of your units, so this is like anti-flying tech. Most Eternal tournaments have sideboards, which is pretty sweet. 15 cards that after the first match in a tournament or round, you can swap into your deck to, increase your deck's ability to play against your opponent's deck. This would be pretty good, it looks like, against a deck full of flying creatures. And when an enemy unit dies, you gain health, and Slime Spitter Slug gets +1/+1. That seems pretty cool. Again, another premium card. I mean, I'm pragmatic when it comes to these sorts of things. Premium cards to me say I can craft cards that I need. Got a dual-colored champion. Every color combination has one of these cards that has added effects if you have over a certain amount of influence for one of the 2 colors. This one gives you, the creature's invulnerable to damage during your turn if you have 4 green, and if you have 4 purple, when it attacks, she gets a permanent +2/+0, which is pretty sweet. Another Warp card. Warp's interesting. Warp is a card advantage mechanic in a color red that doesn't have a whole lot of it, which I think is pretty interesting. A couple relic weapons. It's pretty neat. So power, of course, is like the lands for Magic in this game. It's worth pointing out, too, that when you open packs, you get 100 Shift Stone no matter what's in it. So there's definitely some real value in opening packs in this game, instead of just like grinding out individual cards from your win bonuses and drafting, because the opening chests from winning games and stuff and completing quests, because the bonus 100 shift stone you get really adds up, and a single premium card in here along with the shift stone that you got from opening the pack really gives you a lot of flexibility when it comes to crafting stuff. I have not spent much money on this game at all, and I have a pretty nice collection. That's a pretty cool looking card. So Overwhelm, Warp, Summon, Kill an Enemy Attachment. This includes curses that you put on opponent's creatures, and relic weapons, and just relics in general, which are things you play on your avatar that have global effects but aren't weapons. Like Amethyst Ring here. It says once per turn you may pay 3 to deal 1 damage to the enemy player and gain 1 life. Workshop Forge, again supporting that warp mechanic, warp being the gold-red mechanic introduced in this set. We're getting a ton of premium cards. It's really awesome. Quick Draw is the equivalent of Magic's First Strike, and this is kind of cool. When the wielder hits an enemy player, draw a card. I'm all about drawing cards. It has always been my favorite thing to do in games. So we may have a legendary here. We do. This is a big guy. He's a big fella. Reinarch Hunt Pack, 7 power to play a 7/10 with Warp, so you can play it from the top of your deck, and it has Ambush while it's on the top of your deck, which means that you can play it during your opponent's turn to like block an attacker, or at the end of their turn, just so you can turn around and swing with it the next turn. That's pretty sweet. Worth pointing out, Eternal has dinosaurs. Lots of them. There's another one. That's pretty sweet. So our legendary count is impressively high. I thought that was another legendary for a second. We have Sleepless Nights, a revenge spell. I haven't seen a lot of these. Most of the things I've seen with revenge are creatures, like our friend the Minotaur Duelist. Also a lot of Minotaurs in this game. By the way, worth pointing out, he has a cowboy hat on and a pistol. Discard your hand, draw 4 cards. Well, that's interesting. So then the potential back, you know, this could screw you over, right? Like, let's say it revenges into your deck as the top card. Next turn you just discard your hand of those 4 cards you just drew, but still you're getting another 4, so that's a pretty cool mechanic. And that's kind of next leveling their own, you know, mechanic that only works in digital card games by creating that tension with the revenge mechanic. Okay, we got an Explorer, Torg, Ice Cap Trader. When it hits the enemy player, draw a card and discard a card. Okay, so improving card quality is cool. Gets +3/+3 while you have 15 or more cards in your void. That's your discard pile. That's pretty sweet. These are power cards. There's not a whole lot of power cards in the game, but they are beautiful. And they're straightforward enough that it's pretty easy to get a handle on how it works. And one of the things I like about this over Magic, Magic being one of my favorite games of all time, is that the way the Mulligan System works, again, this is a digital kind of card game only type thing, you're dealt 7 cards, and then you can mulligan them away if you don't like what you get. Because you're really looking for a balance of cheap interactive spells in the early game, if you're in a control deck, or aggressive creatures if you're not, and power cards, so you can gain influence and play your stuff. If you don't like your opening hand, you can mulligan, and you're guaranteed a certain number of power cards, like 2 to 4 or something like that, in a mulliganed hand of 7 cards. And so you're, the chances of you getting screwed and unable to play your cards is really slim. And I mean, of course it happens, but not that often. And here we have Caldera and Cradle. Red-blue, who seems real interested in casting spells. This one says, for every 5 spells you play, put a 5/5 dragon with flying into play. That's pretty sweet. Let's get some more legendaries. Let's get some premium legendaries. Hey, there we go. I asked and I received Ian the Abductor. I actually know Ian. He was in the cell across the hall from me because of his penchant for abducting. 3/3 for 3, pretty heavy influence requirements for such a cheap card, but lifesteal, ambush, ultimate. So the ultimate's abilities are things that can happen once in the game. It says pay 9 to silence a unit in your void, then play it with +3/+3. That's pretty cool. I like that. Just a nice value creature. Just a 3/3 ambush for 3, you know, kind of makes the cut. So that's pretty sweet. That's a pretty nice looking card too. You can see how much shiftstone we're getting here. It's just fantastic. Another Caldera Crater. And when after I've opened all these, I'll hit the little, you know, destroy all your extra copies thing. It won't get rid of my extra premiums because, you know, some people like to keep those, but we'll see just how much shiftstone I've gained by doing this. Bereaved Stranger. Strangers have lifesteal. I think that's the 3rd one of those I've opened. I've never actually played the Strangers deck. It looks kind of inconsistent, maybe. You know, I'm not sure how I would throw it together. Tribal decks in general are kind of hit or miss for me. Like, some of them who have really interesting mechanics are real fun, but in all games I've played where tribal decks have been a possibility, the more linear ones seem sort of that's not really my thing. Another Workshop Forge. Alright. Let's open this bad boy up. Pouncing Drake. That's interesting. I'm sure some of the female audience wouldn't mind getting pounced on by Drake. He's a handsome man, talented actor and musician. That's kind of cool. Emerald ring, amethyst ring. The Groundbreaker. Coming up on my final packs here. Let's get that premium legendary we're looking for. Another one of the Evelina Valley Searcher. When you play an Explorer, including her, dinosaurs in your hand get +1/+1. It's pretty cool if I ever decide to go full Stegosaurus on us. Okay, let's get this open. Stone Scar Excavator. I haven't seen this one. Once per turn, you may pay 4 and discard a power card to deal 1 damage to the enemy player for each power card in your void. That'd be interesting. I'd like to try maybe a control deck where I'm just running like 40 removal spells, power, and these to win the game. That seems like the sort of thing I might be able to get into. Looks like we're going to end with just over 10,000 Shiftstone, which is pretty sweet. And there's a legendary. This is a badass looking owl. Sandra, you got to see this owl. Sandra's a big fan of owls. If you're new to the channel, Sandra's my fiance. We live together. She does a lot of the production work on the channel. And she really likes owls. She's going to take a look here at Nostrix, Lord of Visions. What do you think?
He looks cute.
So she says he looks cute. Well, he does look pretty good. 6 magicka for or 6 power for a 5/7 flyer. Mentor. Give the student and each copy in your hand and deck +3/+3. So that's, you know, whatever. Mentor is the blue-green ability introduced in this set. When you play a card with Mentor, you have to like exhaust or tap a creature you have. That means that, you know, it can't have attacked this turn, and then something happens as a result. It becomes the student, and so that's pretty interesting. Could maybe combo with a card that lets you put multiple copies of a card into your deck. And finally, another legendary. We got Leave a Witness, kill all units, so Wrath of God, and it's got Mentor, spare the student. It's interesting. Leave a Witness. That's some pretty high quality flavor right there. Premium mortar. So let's get rid of our, we have a total of 1,500 extra Shiftstone, leaving us with 11,483 Shiftstone. That's pretty sweet. And where are we at with the set then? Omens of the Past. Full set. We have got full sets of all the commons, 91% of all the uncommons, 65% of the rares, and 25% of the legendaries as far as a full set goes. And looking pretty good here. Alright. So, yeah. That was a sweet little pack opening. Only bringing this up to point out, for those of you who are new to seeing me play Eternal, maybe you're Eternal fans, I have hit Master in Eternal. Yeah, that's a wrap. Thanks for joining me for the pack opening, and I will see you all, I don't know, playing Eternal. Or Legends. Or Heroes of the Storm. Bye-bye.